Oh, speaking of which, Monday, everyone's favorite day. Not. No, it isn't. But have you actually really asked yourself the difference between, let's say, a Saturday and a Monday? And obviously, the answer is that on Saturday, you get to relax and sleep in late, snooze the alarm, and Mondays are full of stress and dread. And yes, you've got to go to work on Monday, but have you ever asked yourself, why do we get ourselves so completely emotionally involved and governed by what time or day of the week it is, because the sun rises and sets exactly the same? Well, that's why this morning we're joined by clinical psychologist Daniel Rabinowitz to discuss this, unpack it, maybe help you understand yourself a little bit better. Dan, good to have you back, man.
Hi,
Happy New Year, by the way.
Oh, you too.
This is the first time we're seeing each other,
Yes,
so I'm
Happy
allowed
New
to say that still.
Okay.
All right, so then let's talk about this Monday thing. Actually, what is the difference, essentially, between a weekday and a weekend day, other than the obvious?
Okay, so
In our minds, psychologically.
besides the difference of the names, Monday and Sunday, psychologically...
As I said, the obvious. Work it out, Dad, work it out.
Okay, so if we're talking psychologically, then the difference between the days are really in our minds. So,
Yeah.
So let's think about why we put ourselves up for those kinds of things. Well, some of the major reasons is that it's all our perception. You know, that the mind is actually created to determine patterns.
Yes.
So, you know, if we're looking at the moon, then lots of people see a face. I don't see a face in the moon, but people do see faces in things where there are no faces.
Exactly.
And so what we do with long stretches of time is we want to organize ourselves, we want to structure our time, so, so life becomes easier to handle.
Yeah, but surely you would think that, you know, the human race and species has evolved such a point where we don't let things out of our control us so much. Why do we still do that then?
The thing about control is that we don't. Some things we have control over, and other things we don't have control over. And the type of therapy that I do, called dialectical behavior therapy, focuses on there are things that we can change, and there are things that we cannot change.
Yes.
So we need to accept that certain things in reality happen, they're real. But other things we have no power over, and so that comes to the idea that if we have no power over something, especially with the flow of time, we have no power over that, then we need to move into a psychological realm of acceptance.
Yeah, and I'm glad you mentioned time, because some people would then say, you know, time in itself doesn't exist. It's just a concept that we created to distinguish between night and day, how many hours of this and this. How would you unpack that concept of time in a manner that serves us positively, especially when it comes to the way in which we interpret the days of the week and how our behavior changes from day to day?
Well, I've already said that psychologically it's all about perception.
Yeah.
So, for example, they've done an experiment where a guy is given a digital watch, and the digital watch is flashing so fast. So, you know, one of those watches where you see the 8?
Yes.
And it's flashing so fast, and he can't see the different changes in the digits. But then he bungee jumps off a bridge.
Yeah.
And as he's bungee jumping, then he has a whole lot of cortisol and stress in the body. And as he's bungee jumping, he has a look at the digital watch, and he's able to see the changes in the digits. He's able to see the 1, 2, 3. So as he's falling, the whole body takes on a different experience of time, which is a whole idea of kind of if you're in a car crash, or hopefully not, but if you're in a car crash, time slows down.
Yeah.
So there's all that idea of what happens in our brains to do with time, and why do we understand that there is a difference in time.
So how do we then convince ourselves that Mondays are really not so blue? This blue Monday thing is just something that somebody came up with, but it doesn't really make a difference.
Okay, well, the thing is that the idea of a blue Monday is that we're going to climb this huge mountain for the rest of the week.
Yeah.
So there's Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So the idea of now is what I mean. If I'm focusing in on the power of now, then I shouldn't really think that there's a huge mountain to climb for the rest of the week.
Yeah.
You are only invested in the current moment. So currently, I know it's Monday morning, and I know that I've got the rest of my week to go, and I have a lot of clients to see. But right now, I'm with you. I'm in this moment. I'm feeling this moment with you, and this is how I'm going to get through the rest of the day. I'm not going to get through the rest of the day by thinking
about the mountain ahead, yeah.
Small increments. And in the same way, if we go to gym, it's the same thing. Small little
increments,
compressed increments are going to get you. It's about determination rather than seeing this as a huge chunk of time.
Yeah, excellent. Well, thank you very much for that. We're going to have more from Daniel a little bit later on, so do stay tuned to your Feel Good Breakfast show. Let's help you through this Blue Monday. Ha! Make it green. How about that?
It's my feel good.
We're back again with clinical psychologist Daniel Rabinowitz. That was always bound to happen. And we're talking about being mindful and taking your Monday, your perception of Monday, changing it around so that you can have a better week. And every day can actually be better instead of building it up to this massive mountain that we all think it is, like Daniel said earlier on. So let's first talk about the concept of mindfulness and exactly what it's all about. Because a lot of people are talking about mindfulness.
And it's become a very well-researched field in psychology. So it's no longer just the whoa of Eastern religion. It's now something that's been scientifically evidence-based. So mindfulness is, let's describe it.
Yeah.
There are actually two ways of thinking about it.
Okay.
The first way is it's about giving attention. So people really think about mindfulness in association with meditation.
Okay.
And we want to pay attention in meditation to nothing.
That's the idea, to clear your mind.
To completely clear your mind and to not focus on any of those thoughts coming in.
Yeah.
So that's the first kind of mindfulness, which is complete attention and awareness on the present moment, but you're thinking about nothing. Okay. Now, these monks start at 7 years old and they go up to 97 trying to clear their minds of nothing. So obviously, this process is a lifelong process and it's a spiritual journey, and you really never get to the point when your mind is filled with nothing.
Yeah.
So it's more about integrating that into your life for calmness, equanimity, etc.
Yeah.
Then the second type of mindfulness is focusing on your consciousness and just watching the thoughts coming in and then watching them go out. Coming in and go out. And that's what mindfulness is.
Okay, so how do we apply this concept of mindfulness in order to benefit us on a daily basis? We don't have 7 years now, unfortunately.
Okay, no.
Or 90-something years.
We've got 7 seconds. So can we do a mindfulness exercise on TV?
Yeah, let's do that.
And say, okay, for 7 seconds, I've got a pen, and a pen is kind of an object that we all have.
Can I take something else at home? If I'm at home, I'm going to take this cup of coffee.
And all you're doing is you're saying, this is a normal object that I hold every day, but I never noticed that on this pen, there's the letters EK8210. And there's a barcode. And you know what? It's different if I feel it in my fingers than if I touch it to my face. And wow, even if you dare yourself enough, you can even put it in your teeth. Wow, there's a different sensation right there. And then if I'm very, very clever, I can even open up my pen and then there's another part to the pen. Wow, this is the hard part and this is the soft part. And so what am I doing in this exercise?
I was about to say, we've done this in high school a couple of times before, you know what I mean? But okay.
But you are completely focusing in on something that is an everyday object, like your life.
Yeah.
Your life is not about things that have become mundane, diurnal. You want to bring attention and enhance every single moment of your existence by just paying attention. How many times have you driven to work and not know how you get to the office? And then you realize that on the way, I could have paid attention to the trees. I could have paid attention to the other cars on the way. Then you arrive at work and you go, okay, well, that was a waste of 20 minutes.
Okay, all right. Certainly something to consider, and I think maybe in helping you to appreciate so much more of the things around you, and maybe in focusing, maybe let's say on the time when you spend with your family, because you're always at work. When you do spend with your family, you can be completely involved in that. And let's also talk about distress tolerance and exactly what that concept involves and how we can use that to our benefit.
Well, that's exactly what I'm talking about. So mindfulness brings your distress down. That's why it's so popular. So what is stress? Well, stress is something that happens to you from the outside. And maybe your boss is shouting at you, or there's a relationship difficulty, or you have to write an exam the next day. So you have stress, and then 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 at the top of the pile is distress. And distress is what happens when your bucket is going to explode.
Yeah.
So now what you need to do is you can use mindfulness in different ways. Well, I've already told you, we've got taste, we've got sight, we've got touch, and we've got the 5 senses that we can use to self-soothe. So immediately, if you start to use mindfulness, you can bring that level of high distress down. Even sitting here now, maybe I'm a bit nervous about being in this interview, I can still touch the fabric of this chair and it gives me a sensation of comfort. Finally, about distress tolerance, and I'll just be brief.
Yes.
We have acronyms that we can use, such as STOP. So step back, then take a breath, which is a mindful activity. O is for observe, what is happening in my body and what is my opinion about the situation. And P is for practice and proceed.
There we go. Thank you so much, Dan. We really do appreciate it. Hopefully that helps you to stop in your tracks on this Monday morning. Exercise a little bit of mindfulness and decrease your distress, increase your tolerance.